Herbert Dennard Show. It's the Herbert Dennard Show.
Welcome to the Herbert Dennard Show. We have with us what the Macon Telegraph and WMAZ call the kingpins of cocaine in Macon. Many of you heard about it not many years ago, a couple of years perhaps. Barack Obama, the President of the United States, when when his term was running out, he pardoned Jerry Anderson. Some people complained, some people said nothing, but he was given the longest time in prison in this area for a nonviolent crime. He was, as they say, the kingpin of cocaine. What do you think of all those titles they gave you? That was you then?
That was a Jerry back then. Yeah, I was selling a lot of drugs at the time, and it wasn't a good thing, but at the time I needed a job and I needed to do something for my parents, help them out. So I did what I could do, and it seemed like drug was the only way I could go at that time. But it was a bad decision though. But I went to selling drugs back then.
How do you get into selling drugs?
You have to know somebody. I knew somebody that knew some people somewhere else, and they introduced me to the people. And they tried me out, and I sold them all, and they tried me out, I sold them all, and I started making money.
In the height of your career, how much money was you making a week or a month?
Everybody look at me when I say that. They be saying, well, I don't believe that it make them, but I was making $1,250,000 a week.
A week?
Yes, sir.
Oh, Lord, have mercy. I see why people got into it. But what you do, but then you had to pay off the people that work for you.
I had 45 guys that worked for me. I would pay $50 a week, $3,000 a week, depending on what their job was. Whatever your job was, that's how your money went.
And I know, I think your lawyer at the time was Floyd Buford. Your state representative.
Floyd Buford, yes.
Yeah. And I was telling you the story earlier. I walked in the Peacock a long time ago. And you was in the center of a group, and there was 4 or 5 people around you, all with long trench coats on.
Yeah, at that time, I didn't like nobody coming near me. I ain't like talking to people that much. I was real arrogant back in them days. So if you weren't in my clique, you can't come up to me. And I had people always around me to make sure nobody didn't come up to me. Jerry. Nah, not when I'm out of the club.
Right. I know everybody. I said, what's all the commotion about? I thought maybe a celebrity had walked in there, somebody like Richard Pryor, somebody. Everybody was around, and everybody was gathered around you. And they said, that's Jerry Anderson. And they said, you see them coats them guys got on? They got something under them coats. I said, let me get out of here.
You had to go nowhere. Everything was under control.
You had everything under control.
Yeah.
That's good. But you went to jail. How long did you stay in jail?
I went to jail in '89. I stayed in jail to December the 14th, 2017. So I just stayed in jail for over 28 years.
And then what did you think when you heard that Barack Obama, the President of the United States, was going to give you a pardon?
I didn't think I was going to get a pardon. I wasn't going to even put it in. But people kept saying, man, you got to try anyway, because I'd already put in 350 motions and got denied. So when they told me to put that in, I just went on the side. I put it in, I threw it on out there, and I forgot all about it. And when my counselor came to me and told me my lawyer wanted to talk to me, I said, for what? She said, I can't tell you, but I said, man, I don't want to hear it then. It ain't nothing. Don't go outside, Jerry. I said, I'm going outside anyway. Come back in. She said, I told her not to go outside. I said, man, y'all don't want nothing. She said, man, she told me to tell you. She said, you know, you got President Barack Obama gave you granted your pardon. I can do nothing but start crying. I went to my room, run to the room, get on my knees, start praying, and start crying. Oh man, it was the most greatest feeling you could ever feel in your life. Because I can tell you, I got 2 life sentences left behind. I done got everything else, 2 life sentences now. So I'm gonna be there for the rest of my life. To hear that, ooh.
You know, Nelson Mandela spent some time in jail for other causes. Martin Luther King spent time in jail. Martin Luther King, when he was in jail, he wrote one of the best letters you ever read, the letter from Birmingham. A lot of time in jail makes some people better and it makes some people worse.
You're right.
What did it do for you?
It made me better. That's how I ended up writing the play, because all I could do is I could talk to God every night and ask God, if you give me a second chance, all I need is one chance. And I get out on the screen, I talk to all the young kids, I talk to gang members, I do whatever I got to do. I want to give them a platform where they can stop coming to prison and getting in trouble. So that when I started thinking of that play that I just had over the weekend, The Rise and Fall of Jerry Anderson, I want to tell my story, how I was up and I had all the money, all the fame, but at the end, when the redemption part comes, you got to go pay that price. I had to go to jail and probably should have never got out, but I got a second chance. So that's what my goal was. If God give me a second chance to get out and tell my story so I can stop little kids and gang members, anybody from killing each other and going to prison like I did.
The Rise and Fall of Jerry Anderson.
Yes, sir.
And I think you had redemption in there somewhere.
Yes, sir. Rise and Fall and Redemption of Jerry Anderson.
And you had this play at the Douglas Theater.
Yes.
How was it turn out?
Both nights sell out. People
Wow.
still trying to get in the door. Now a lot of people's asking me now. They say they missed it. So now we thinking about going back and doing one more show, so we can have so those people that missed can get to see it too. But it was a sellout both nights.
There's been several movies written about people that use drugs. One on Denzel Washington was in. They got one out right now, The King of Harlem or something like that. Is it something like that, or is that a lot of television?
Well, you ask me, I tell you, most of them emit me anyway. Most of them, New Jack City, all that stuff, all that was me anyway. So, but what Denzel that did, everything except the telling. And you can say that, but no telling.
What do you mean telling?
People that come up and snitch. Denzel them did a lot of snitching in there. So no snitching. I just went and did mine like a man. I did the time. I did the trouble, so I went and did the time until I got the point.
And when you went in, you was thinking that you was going to be in for life.
Now, when I went, I thought I was going to be out in 3 years. I didn't think they had nothing on me. 3 years went by. I thought I was going to be out in 6 years. 6. It kept going and going till something hit me one day and said, man, you've been in for 13 years. You might not never go home, Jerry. Don't allow myself to think like that. But I did that one time, and then it spooked me, it shook me up for a whole week that I might not never get to go home again.
What do you do every day? You've been there almost 30 years. What are you doing every day?
I work out every day. I had factories, and I had a factory. I would go to the factory, work all day long, get out of the factory, then go work out all day long, and I come back, take a shower, and watch TV till they call a lockdown. That was my routine every day. Go to work, go work out, go get something to eat, watch TV. And when they say lockdown, you got to be in the bed at 8:45. You're in the room in the bed.
Did you read anything?
I tell you, no, I do no reading.
No reading.
No reading.
Just thinking.
Just thinking. That's all I want to lay in bed at night. I try to keep my mind on the street, what's happening in the street, thinking about my mamas, my sisters, my kids. I'm always thinking, in prison you have to stay free. If you allow yourself to go in there and do what everybody calls institutionalized, you get institutionalized. You don't want to go home. You just want to stay there and do what they do, which a lot of guys just want to be in prison. They go back and back because they like to be in. But me, the only thing on my mind was going home. So I don't allow myself to be in prison mentally.
Mm-hmm. Drugs, crack cocaine especially, was very popular in that era during the time. But right now, something that I've been wanting to ask somebody, and you might know it and might not know it. Right now, it seems like crack is down. They got other drugs. Or some people say the drugs is weaker now, and that's why people are not on it like they used to be on.
Yes, that's what I'm hearing. A lot of people tell me since I've been out. Crack is gone. It's weak. By the time they send it from the supply, they done cut it up, and the people that get it, they chop it up, and somebody else chop it and they sell it to you. It already chopped up. It ain't no good. What's out there now? Meth and pills. Everybody don't know all that now.
Right. That's what's happening. So crack right now, not only in Macon but probably throughout the country.
Yeah.
Is
weak, real bad. People ain't on crack that much. No, you got people still on it, but a lot of people ain't on crack no more. It's kind of
I had somebody in my family that was on it bad for a while, but now they're not on it. And one day I talked to them, and they told me that the crack they sell now is very weak.
Real weak.
And so they go into meth or some other drugs.
Yeah, they definitely able to make it do. When you're on a drug, it sends you to another drug because you want that high. So that's why a lot of people go to meth. They go into pills, oxycodone. They taking all that stuff now. They try to keep that high.
But you know, I heard a lot of things about you, but I never heard that you was using drugs.
Never.
How do you sell it and don't use it? Seems like you got to test it out first or do something.
Nah, I was the money man. Just give me the money. All I want was the money. You can test, drink, do whatever you want. As long as there was time on the Saturday, give me all the money.
But I mean, this is my thinking. If you're selling it, how do you know somebody's selling you bad stuff if you don't check it out yourself?
Because you have testers. I got a test. I got 3, 4 back there. I had 3, 4 tests. I called so go get them and bring them back over now. Yeah, do this. I had a shooter, I had a smoker, I had a snorter, everybody do it. And when they say, oh, man, that's the one, I know that was the one. Plus,
Okay.
you could look at it back then anyway and tell. They had 3 different colors to it. That pearl white or that beige, and with that lumpy like stuff. And then you know what not to mess with that lumpy. You know what you have to get.
What's wrong with the lumpy?
That lumpy take you to a whole week for it to get right. It's like, it's all base. All base was set up for 2, 3 weeks. You got to sit it outside in the yard until it finally rock up, and then. But when it rock up, it's good, but it just take forever to rock up.
So what's happening now for is crack cocaine. People are off of it for whatever reasons, because it's not the quality, because of whatever it is. They're off of it.
That's a good thing, because if somebody would come through making and put it back pure, lock the whole city back down again. But as long as it's terrible and bad, that's a good thing. People are off of it now.
I wonder, you know, not that I want it back, but I wonder why did people do that to it, and you know, who decided that they was going to dilute it and do all these things to it and got people off of it.
But that answer I can't answer, but I can tell you because you make more money. The weaker you make it, the more money you make it. But if you're a junkie, you gonna buy it anyway because you hooked on crack. So I got to buy it, even if it ain't hitting it ain't good, but that's what I'm on. So that's what the rich joker say. I sell it to him for anything, he gonna buy it. And that's what's happening.
So when you was making all of this money, I can't even imagine if $1 million a day, $1 million a week. I can't even imagine that. But if you're making all that, how do you stash it? Because you can't really put it in the bank, because they'll go to the bank and get it.
What I would do
First time something happened, they look at your bank account.
That's right. What I did, what other people didn't want to do. A lot of people scared to put their stuff under the earth. So I went under the earth with safe after safe after safe after safe after safe after safe after safe, till you get tired of putting safes in the ground, then you forget all the numbers. So what I started doing then, after I get all the ones, I might have over there a corner full of ones from wall up. Throw a match and burn them up. I got too much money, I burn it up. You got to get rid of it. I don't need all the ones. So I burn up money and keep money. Probably got some safes.
Burn up money?
Yeah. I got some safes right here now. I probably don't know where they at. I don't want to sit on TV because somebody might go hunt.
But what brought you to the conclusion that you would go and do a playwright? Did you have somebody else help you with the playwright?
No, I was just in my bed. First I said I was going to write a book. So I started writing everything coming from a child up till I got to page 22. And I said, man, it ain't going to take me forever to write. I need somebody else to write the book for me because I ain't super smart, and there be words I want to say and don't write, and I'm like, man, I got to get a dictionary, keep going back and looking for the words. So I said, I'm going to leave that alone. So I said, the best thing I can do is a play, because a play, you can hit on a play quick and do your thing with a play and find the right person to do it for you and do it the way you want it. It'll be good. So that was something to the play.
Yeah, well, from everything I've heard, it was very good. It was very good. It might be a movie one day.
That's what I'm hoping for. Book next and then moving.
So what do you do now since you're out?
I was working at the chicken plant, but I crushed my hands in one of the machines, so now I don't have a job. So I'm just sitting back making all this happen. Plays, books, moving, because I'm trying to get a JA foundation going so I can open up buildings and put computers in it and I can get police officers to come all night long, gym, so from 6 o'clock to 12 o'clock, so guy can play ball. People that make them need something to do. When there ain't things to do, they're gonna do wrong. So hey, that's why it's making so bad. People don't want to come to Macon because all the killing and all that stuff that's going on, because it's boring. There's not nothing to do here but to get in trouble.
How do you, I asked you the first question about crack cocaine, you didn't use it. How do you get through all of that without killing somebody? They had no record of you killing anybody. And it seemed like if you had drugs, you have to cap somebody every now and then.
You put, back in my times, I used to put the baseball bat on you. I put a baseball bat on you, I put an iron bolt on you. If I put
iron bolt?
Yeah, if I
hot iron?
If I hit your back with a hot iron, you don't want to do nothing else to me no more. I hit you on them shin with them baseball bat. I had people come to try me, but I would always put that thing on them. Once I beat them down, it go all out, leave you here alone. So nobody didn't want to come back with me because they know me and my 45 guy were going to come do what we had to do.
Yeah, by the Army.
Yeah.
Really a platoon.
Okay.
That's good, but I'm wondering, you have any idea when you might do the play again?
Well, I asked my second producer, standing with Nita, she'll tell you that part.
It's in the works.
It's in the works right now.
Right. Well, I missed the first one, but I've heard about it.
That's a great play.
I heard it was
great,
fantastic. It was real.
Yep, it was real. The only way I'm gonna come to you, I didn't want to go like a lot of people think I was just doing it, just trying to get exposed and get money. But I was doing like I told them, I only do it because I'm trying to raise money to help kids. I'm trying to guide kids in the right direction. I don't glorify nothing. I always want them to see the end part. Well, I went to prison. I stayed there for 28 years. Don't be for President Barack Obama. I'm not sitting there talking to you now. I'm still up there in Atlanta on that iron bed and hard concrete and steel. I got a second chance. So there's some guys up there, over 38,000 people applied for the clemency. Only 1,715 people got it. I was one of the lucky ones. Just think of the other 37,000 people that ain't never come home and them that won't come home. So I was blessed. That's why I want to show them that you get in trouble. It's easy to get in trouble. Once you go down that wrong road, you might not never come back. And some people go to prison with 5 years and get in so much they have to fight for their life. End up with 15, 20, they end up in prison for the rest of their life. Cause you got to fight for your life in them.
Well, how did you avoid the fights?
I played softball good, I played basketball good, I played baseball. I did everything sports good, so everybody loved me. People that come
heard that you used to be a pretty good football player.
Yes, sir. Central Georgia, 1975 state championship. Michael Jala, all the year, I was good.
And you went to college?
Yeah, went to college for a year.
And then you quit?
Came back home because my mama needed my help and had a girlfriend that had 2 kids, one and one on the way, so I had to leave there and go back home and help out.
Mm-hmm. That's a story.
Yeah.
If you'd have stayed in, you might have made it in the pros.
Yeah, because they had the Houston, New Orleans, and San Francisco 49 looking at me at that time. But when you're young like that, your people crying on the phone, tell you they need you. You can't see back then. I sitting there telling you, and even a couple of years back when I was in prison, I was telling myself, if I'd have just stayed in college, I'd have went on pro and I could have helped another way. I wouldn't have had to go down this long road, but I guess God sent me down that road for a reason, to come back and get hope to the young kids, and that's my goal now.
What do you say to young people now that might be toying with selling drugs or doing some drugs or whatever? What do you say to them? I
say go get you a job, leave them drugs alone, because you don't know what's going to happen to you. When they put you behind them bars, that when everything hit you, when that sale says slam, everything you did wrong start coming back to you. Now you call it mama, now you call it daddy, now you need somebody to come help you to get you attorneys, you need all this stuff. You finna take all their money and you still finna go to prison for 10, 15, 20 years. Your parents gonna die while you're in prison. A lot of your sisters and brothers gonna die. You're gonna come back home 20 years, 30 years from now with nothing, when all you had to do is just get you a job. Wait on the Lord, he always come get you. That was my problem. I should have waited. If you sit back and wait on the Lord, he gonna always gotta play. He gonna send you somewhere. You might go through hard times, but you gotta ride them hard times no matter what. Just wait on him to come get you, and you'll be all right.
I guess that's the redemption.
That's the redemption.
Appreciate you stopping by, my friend.
No problem. I appreciate your help.
Good day and welcome back to the Herbert Dennard Show. I have with me my very, very good friend, Reverend Dr. Henry Clay Ficklin. Welcome.
Glad to be here again.
I know you like for me to call your whole name out. Lately, there's been some killings of black folks. Mm-hmm. The last one that comes to my mind, a woman is killed while she was in her house playing video games with her nephew.
Yes.
Another person got killed, a police officer that was in Dallas, killed a guy that was in a hotel room, minding his own business. All of the killings that I've seen, and there's a lot of them, I've never witnessed or read one about a white person getting killed by a black person, like going in the wrong house and shooting somebody or some things like that. It seems like the police are continuously killing black folks. Why do you think that? I ask you because you were a doctorate. You've been a teacher, civil rights leader. What's the reason? What's your personal opinion?
It goes back to the lack of respect for black people in our community as a whole. And I think that even among black people, they would, I guess not rather, but they would be more likely to point a gun at a black man than they would at a white man. And I think we see that all the time, that in similar situations where young black men have been killed, if they are stopped on the highway by a policeman, because there is a more ready attitude to hold a gun on a black person, and maybe it's because of the fear of the black man that maybe he got something that he's going to do to them. But the attitude is much sober when it comes to dealing with whites who have been pulled over, and of course there are some whites who've been shot. But the frequency is much higher with black people, and I think it goes back to that basic respect of black people. It's some of the things that we have happen on jobs, and even in schools. You're going to see that black kids are more likely to be suspended and sent home than their counterpart white students or even Hispanic students, and Hispanic students would be next to be sent home. And I think that one of the things that this president has shown us in this country is that there has always been an undercurrent kind of racism that that persists in our country, even though we think, and sometimes we would like to think, I think that we had lulled ourselves into thinking that we had reached a kind of apex in race relations and that we were really on the up and up. But when this man was elected and when he went out and campaigned, he knew what kinds of things to hit to bring those things to the surface. And that's why they're still supporting him now, because there is a lot of racism that persists in our country. And I think that people who are of that same race, they can identify it better than we can. And I think that this is what we are seeing happening.
When Barack Obama was elected president, let's recount you and I. Mm-hmm. We were supporting Hillary Clinton the first time.
Yes.
Elaine was too. All three of us was.
Mm-hmm.
And then when Barack won I said, bye, Hillary. I said, all that stuff about Jesse Jackson. But when you realize the percentage of black people in Iowa, that means a lot of white people voted for him.
Yes, right. Mm-hmm.
And so when that happened,
there is a low percentage of black people in Iowa.
A low percentage. Mm-hmm. So that's when I came to the conclusion that this man might win. Mm-hmm. I think you and Elaine was a little later, but y'all soon
Well,
joined.
we came over to.
I know you came over.
Because
but I mean,
Hillary is an important person. She's done a lot of things, and
Absolutely.
she has just a wonderful record. So we came over eventually.
I came over fast.
Yeah, but yeah, I know you did.
You know,
But-
I said, look here, I supported Jesse, I supported Al Sharpston, I supported all these other people, and I'm not going to waste my vote and we end up with the wrong person. But when Barack won, it made me real happy. I went to his inauguration.
Oh yeah.
When him and Michelle was singing and Beyonce was singing the song by Etta James, At Last. Myself, my daughter, and my sister was there. But it brought joy to us.
Yeah, it brought joy to the whole country of people who wanted what was right and who knew that it was time to see this. And I think that we thought that veil that we saw Abraham Lincoln lifting, that this was another veil being lifted, that we had
Right.
gone into another dispensation of race relations. And I think that we really thought it, and we really did think it. And there were some people who were in that dispensation. But then the undercurrent, there was another group that despised everything that he did. And it started in the Congress when he was elected. There were people there who said that he wasn't going to get anything passed. And they fought him tooth and nail for 8 years.
But with all of that, he handled it all with dignity.
Dignity.
They was mad because he wore a tan suit. They was mad because Michelle showed her arms, and they pretty too. They was mad about that. But and after then they sent Romney after him.
Yeah.
And Romney got beat. They were just
Oh, yeah.
like the world was coming to an end. But I knew it was bad, but I didn't think it was that bad.
Well, I thought that once he won the second time, that would smooth things over because he was running against one of the richest men in America, Romney. And but then once he defeated him, and there was still a lot of whites who voted for Barack Obama at that time. And then his name was something that people had to overcome too.
Yep.
I mean, his name was Barack Hussein Obama.
Right.
So he had to overcome all of that. And but there were people who were really just, I guess they were just smothering in their anger and resentment that a black man was the president of the United States. And this was for 40-some presidents, and now we have a black man, and some people just could not take that.
And they hated it.
Oh yeah, they hated it.
And then along comes Trump. And all of those people, plus some, that hated it, and he sent out those code words,
Oh yeah, he knew what code words to send out.
and they all supported him. And
And
plus
he's-
the Russians stepped in. He had a perfect storm.
Yeah.
The Russians stepped in, and
I think the Russians were probably in it before we realized it. And of course,
probably right.
now we're seeing some things. And when Nancy Pelosi stood up and said that why does all roads lead to Putin when she pointed at him, I think that there are some things that we were not aware of, that Trump was aware of, and that some other people around him are aware of. And they have put that play into action. And I'm mighty afraid that if this impeachment doesn't be successful in the Senate, that it's going to make him more powerful and he's going to win again.
you might be right, but I'm hoping that somebody can beat him even if the impeachment doesn't happen like we want it to happen. I'm hoping somebody can beat him. Who do you like?
Well, I really like Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren, and I like Amy Klobuchar. But the person who I really wanted was Michael Bennet from Colorado. I think that he was middle of the road. He knew right from wrong, and he would have just been a great person to be president.
What about Joe Biden?
I like Joe Biden now. I think that Joe Biden is probably going to be the person gets the Democratic nomination, and he's probably going to be the one that, if there's anybody who can beat Trump, that he'll be the one who can do it. Because I think that he brings together the conservative side as well as the progressive side, and he's kind of like a middle of the roader. I think that the more of these debates they have, the more his figures go down, because when you're close up on a person, we hadn't been close up on people in the past like this. You know, like Reagan, they had him, he's like one of the most popular presidents, and they give him credit for doing everything, and he was senile the whole time he was up there, basically. But they were not that close in on him. You could see him in the interview. Sometimes he'd be coming across the tarmac, and his wife, Nancy, would be telling him what to say, and then she'll tell him when to cut it off and all that. At the time when we bombed over in Libya, Muammar Gaddafi, he was asleep. He didn't know anything about it. They woke him up the next morning and told him about it.
I believe you. I think Reagan had some problems.
Yeah.
And the best person of all, the most decent person of all, Reagan beat up pretty bad. I'm talking about Jimmy Carter.
Oh, yeah.
And I think he's probably the most decent president
that we've had.
that we ever had. He's a decent man. He falls, he gets up, so he's still helping build houses. He believed that, Lord, this is my opinion, I think he believed that God looked down and look at what he's done for others.
Yeah.
And he keeps on doing it.
He has such a giving spirit. And he was the first president that I met personally. And I'm just glad that he is the oldest living president to have ever lived. And I'm hoping and praying that he'll be successful in his comeback from this recent fall that he just had.
But back on Trump, I believe, as Nancy Pelosi said, all roads lead to Putin. I think he's in it. And do you remember he gave out the statements or the letter that was in the letter, what was said, and it was worse. I think he gave it out because nobody wanted to see the original letter.
Yeah.
And I think if they see the original letter,
the transcript of what was actually said in that talk
it'll
with
be worse.
Zelensky.
And I don't hear anybody asking about
They're not asking because he gave out that they had written up, and that was not an actual verbatim transcript of what happened.
And that was bad. So what do you think he left out?
Yeah. That's what I think they ought to ask for too, is what was the original transcript. And then they hid the whole thing too. That was another indicator that something was not going right. And when we have a president who operates in this type of way, you know, it speaks volumes about some of the things that we need to do, and especially the people who we elected. I mean, I don't understand how we can just sit here and let him get away with the things he's gotten away. We really didn't know how powerful the president was until Trump got in there.
The president disrespects everything, and he has he has a gift.
Oh, definitely.
He has a gift, because if he is doing crooked stuff, he'll call Hillary crooked, and he's the most crooked, corrupt person that's ever been in office. He would take what you're thinking about him, and he'll beat you to the punch,
yes, right, exactly.
and blame it on the opponent. He blamed corruption on Joe Biden, although honestly, I don't think it was corrupt, but I think they put him in a job to pay $50,000 a week. That, you know, and
Joe Biden's son.
Joe Biden's son.
But he's got the spotlight on them, but he got his sons, his daughter, and his son-in-law still operating as if they are governmental employees or have some official role, and there's no telling what all they are doing.
Oh, but what he does, he focuses in on Joe Biden.
Yeah, to get the attention off of his own family.
Right, and get the attention off his family, and then all the people around him are running in there saying all kinds of things. We need to get him out of there. But I think they need to have a black person on the ticket to help get some enthusiasm in the black community. I'm going to vote anyway. Yeah, anybody on the list, I'm voting for other
low information voters need somebody on there. And I think that if Biden could reach back and get, you know, I like Kamala Harris, Kamala Harris, but I think she attacked Biden too soon. And Biden was a good man, and she attacked him like she did in that debate. It made her look good to some people. It didn't make her look good to me. I said, now why would she attack Joe Biden like that? I mean, there was other ways that she could have gotten that point out about she had been a student in a segregated situation and what have you, without attacking him like that. And you know, I'm on her mailing list and what have you, but you know, that kind of soured me against her to attack him, because he was very loyal to the first black president we had.
Let me tell you something I thought about Kamala Harris. I don't know if you remember this, but she was on stage. A man walked on stage and took the microphone from her.
Mm-hmm, I remember.
You remember that?
Mm-hmm.
It's a little small black woman was on the stage with her.
Mm-hmm.
She went over there and took that microphone back from that man.
Yeah, I remember. Mm-hmm.
And Kamala, a much bigger person, she just sit there. The man got the microphone, she just let it go and just sit there. This little small black woman, I don't remember her name.
I remember she's one of the commentators.
She's one of the commentators.
Mm-hmm.
What did she do?
She took it. Mm-hmm.
And confronted him, told him to get off the stage. Mm-hmm. And seemed like, I don't know if it was for political reasons or what, but seemed like Kamala was scared. Mm-hmm. You know,
I remember that.
And that little small black woman
mm-hmm.
seemed like she was ready to rumble.
He got off the stage.
You know, but I like Kamala.
Yeah, I
but
like
the person
her too.
I really love better than any of them is Elizabeth Warren.
I like Elizabeth Warren too.
I don't know if she can win.
That's my problem. I like everything she said, because basically I think she's saying the same kind of things that Bernie Sanders was saying, but she's more direct about what she wants to do. And I would vote for her in a heartbeat, but I don't think she can win either. And I think that right now we need someone who can win. And they all, you know, and I didn't realize that Elizabeth Warren was as old as she is, but they all, you know, are people who are up there in some age, but they're doing good. And Bernie Sanders, when he had that heart attack, I think that caused some people to step back and question, you know, his health as far as being in the most stressful job in the world. Could he, you know, make it?
I tell you what you do. You ask a question. Have the commentators ask Bernie a question, and look at the forcefulness, the way he answered the question. Then you ask Joe Biden a question and watch him stumble through some things.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
It's incoherent.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
He ended up talking about buying records for people to listen to. And you're trying to figure, what is he talking about? He talked about buying records, how families need to do this. And it seemed like he is not very bright.
Well,
he brighter than Trump now.
Yeah.
I mean, but he just doesn't come across that strong.
I don't know whether, I think Trump fools a lot of people. I think Trump is very bright.
I don't think that I don't believe he's bright. I think he's.
I think that he's bright, but he is mischievously bright. That he takes his energy and uses it for mischievous purposes, and he's not trying to go along with the Constitution said, what have you. He has it all laid out what he wants, and when he talks about the wall, he knows that that's a key that's going to get certain people excited about, because they don't want all these people coming in. But you know, when you think about the people who are coming in, this was their country anyway. I mean, Texas was Mexico. That was North Mexico. I mean, these people are coming to where they are the indigenous people, and they belong. And you know, and to build a wall to keep them out is just one of those ideas that he knows is going to get certain people's attention.
But what we need to do is try to come up with some kind of way to get across where people vote, young people vote, old people vote. We need a mechanism to really get a turnout like it's never happened before. And whoever the candidate is, even the woman from Hawaii, whoever the Democratic nominee is, I'm voting for.
I am too. But now I think that what the Republicans realized, because you know we had our own legislator right here from Middle Georgia who was pushing getting rid of these cell phones. But they have stopped all of this. because I'm thinking they're waiting for Trump's second term, because if they do it now, they know that will be a key to anger enough people who are poor and who need those phones to get out and vote.
They have stepped back from it.
And also with the food stamp thing, they have stepped back from that as well, because they don't want to push any button that's going to make these poor people get out and vote. So if they let it just lie dormant, they might not get out and vote. And then in his second term, all these things will really come to fruition, and they'll come in. They'll be really devastating for some communities.
Appreciate you stopping by.
Thank you so much for having me.
Glory be to God. God our Father, we thank you now for this opportunity to stand and to be part of your agenda. Use me now, God, as a tool of thy divine will. Use me, God, that your people will see none of me, but see and hear all of thee. Let now, my Father, the words of my mouth and the meditations of my heart be acceptable in thy sight. O Lord, my strength and my Redeemer. It's in the marvelous, matchless name of your Son and our Savior, Jesus the Christ, we pray. And then all of God's children said amen. While I have your attention, let us turn our sermonic spotlights to the book of Luke, the 13th chapter of Dr. Luke's book. While you all are perusing, I ask that if you can stand, we ask that you would stand. If you can't stand, I understand. Let's give this choir a hand clap of praise. A great team of musicians tonight. Amen. Luke 13, verse number 6. Then he told this parable. A man had a fig tree growing in his vineyard. And when he went to look for fruit on it, but did not find any. And so he said to the man who took care of the vineyard, for 3 years now, I've come for fruit on this fig tree, but haven't found any. Cut it down. Why should it use up the soil? Sir, the man replied, leave it alone for 1 more year. I'll dig around it and fertilize it. But if it bears fruit next year, fine. But if not, then cut it down. The word of God for the people of God. You may be seated in the presence of our God. New Pleasant Grove. If I was from Georgia, I'd say it's a plum pleasing pleasure to be here tonight. Good to be in the house of the living God just one more time. God has afforded all of us another day. And as I try to gather my bearings and hear myself, please bear with me. It's just another day that the Lord has kept me. It's just another day that the Lord has kept me. Yeah, He kept me from all evil. He kept my mind. He kept my mind stayed on Jesus. It's just another day that the Lord has kept me. Y'all don't mind helping me, do you? It's just another day. Somebody ought to be glad to be here tonight. That the Lord has kept me. He kept me from all evil. He kept my mind, He kept my mind, He kept my mind stayed on Jesus. It's just another day that the Lord has kept me. Glory. That's fine right there, Q, man. That's fine too. This giant of a preacher, my friend, my brother, Pastor Richard Robinson, we thank you for the invite tonight. We thank you for the friendship that you and I share. Thank you for the conversations that we have had through the past year or so. But moreover, I thank God for placing you here at New Pleasant Grove Baptist Church of Macon, Georgia. Let us give him a hand clap of praise tonight. And to his lovely queen, we thank God for First Lady Ashley tonight. Amen. Amen. And to their two junior Jesuses. Amen. Amen. And I say that not in pun, but when a man has a son, and according to the Levitical priesthood, his son is also a priest. Amen. And so he is a rightful heir unto the throne of God. And to my queen tonight, amen, to this quadre of preachers that graced the rostrum with us tonight, and deacons of all churches here that are in earshot tonight, we thank God that you did not think it robbery to come out and to share with us tonight. Thank you to my friend, great introducer in himself, often my stand-in, my good brother. Thank you, man. I thank God. Come on, give it up for him. I thank God for him. Stands in for me many a night. Tonight I want to talk from the subject tonight, better late than never. Better late than never. Everybody does or not or will not get to accomplish things or to achieve things, their goals or their objectives at the same pace. Oftentimes, we try to measure ourselves by where we should be or where we think we should be or what other folks thinks we should have done and have done in our lives on some type of timetable. Many go about life feeling like failures because they have not done what other people thought they should have done. And so when we look at the plantation of life, we must be careful not to confuse undeveloped flowers for weeds. A late bloomer is often a person whose gifts or talents are not always visible to other people. But to the person that is gifted through God, there's always someone that sees the gifts of God in you. Their gifts are often suppressed, often entangled in the world or the environments by which they live. Even our children are now being called slow learners, diagnosed with medical conditions that cause them not to learn at the same pace as their peers. But I suggest to you tonight, given the right situation, given the right circumstances, and given the right attention, many of them do catch up and surpass others in their age group. Simply said, eventually they get it. Many young adults don't show their brilliancy until late in their years, slow to develop, but I suggest to you again tonight, better late than never. There are many who are dismissed and misdiagnosed because they did not show any promise or aptitude of reaching any higher altitude. Albert Einstein, an inventor of the theory of relativity at the age of 4, was regarded unteachable and even thought to have been retarded. I tell your neighbor, just because he thought he was being retarded because he didn't speak until he was 4 years old. Tell your neighbor tonight, just because I didn't say anything didn't mean I didn't have anything to say. It was further believed that he may have had ADD or some other retardation or some learning disability. He flunked most, if not all, of his college entry exams only to become considered one of the smartest men to ever have lived. I suggest to you tonight, better late than never. Black people, everyone knows that a church they could gather there. You know, you could always gather in the church, but before we got to church there and got left the church, there was another place called churches, but even before churches, there was a place called KFC. The colonel who we talk about so affectionately, a white man with a white beard and with a white suit cooking fried chicken. I ain't quite got that one yet either, but the colonel, as we were taught affectionately to call him, did not reach his fame until he was 65 years old. He did not become a millionaire until he was 72. It wasn't until several failed ventures and lawyers as an insurance salesman, a real estate and a gas station owner did the colonel find success by selling chicken out of the gas station to drum up business, not for the chicken, but for the gas. Yes, sir. It was by total accident that he became a household name late in age. Better late than never. Let me say to somebody here tonight, stop allowing people to funeralize your life instead of eulogizing your future. Because to funeralize is to speak about the dead, but when you eulogize, the etymology of the word eulogize is to speak well thereof. Stop calling me dumb and call me smart. You might find out that there's a future where you thought there was none. Stop telling your children they cannot learn. Stop talking to them like all you're going to be is like your daddy. I'm not my daddy. I got a future. People talk about you. You need to tell somebody tonight, stop trying to predict my future by the outcome that you input. My children may not be the best. Maybe neither is my relationships, but I'm still God's child, and God still has a plan for my life. I'd rather get it late in life to have gotten it early in life and did not appreciate it. I stopped by to tell somebody tonight, it's all right if you didn't get it when everybody else did. It's better late than never. The ecclesiastical writer said, better is the end of a thing than a beginning. Turn to your neighbor and say, neighbor, better late than never. You never know what God has in store for you. I know I'm right about it. The Bible says, eyes have not seen, ears have not heard, nor has it entered into the hearts of men the thing that God has in store for them. Stop thinking it's over. Better late. Don't let nobody steal your future with a misdiagnosis. Your children has greatness within them. If you have a child, a grandchild that didn't start off great, but you still believe in the power of God and there's greatness in your start, you ought to stand up and shout like I still believe. Better late than never. It's not over just because he flunked first grade. Stop allowing folks to write you off and count you out because you didn't get the start everybody else did. But I'll stop by on my way to heaven to tell somebody it's better late.